my name is TSE. I'm primarily a Persona 4 Arena Ultimax and now Gundam Extreme vs. Full Boost player. And today I just want to talk about the upcoming major that we have on the way, or rather, things you should keep in mind as you're going to this major, or any others that you may be interested in. Just a few general things that, might help players out, get them more comfortable with themselves as they go out to these places. And, specifically the major I wanted to do this for is Evolution 2015. First day of which is going to be tomorrow, reasonably. I don't think tournaments start until Friday, but regardless, I'm going to be talking about 4 specific things, and those things are going to be player mindsets, which is probably the one I've gotten the most feedback on from individuals as far as doing this video. Being courteous and considerate to the people at the venue, whether they be workers or other players, just whoever you may meet, spectators even. Third point being networking, which is kind of self-explanatory, but I feel like I should go over it anyways. And again, self-explanatory, but the fourth point is having fun, which is really important, and because of how important it is, you're probably going to see bits and pieces of it in the other 3 points I'm going to be going over. So, the first point, player mindsets. What I mean by player mindsets is the mentality that individual players have when they go into a tournament, not just into a specific match against a specific player of a specific level. That's very specific, and each player is going to handle that exact situation differently. But the overarching situation, which is going to a tournament, a lot of players, not only do a lot of players lack true confidence in themselves, I don't feel that they measure their skills reasonably when they're going into one of these tournaments. Again, Evolution is the biggest tournament, as far as I know, for fighting games. And because of that, there's a lot of pressure on players going here, flying out from all over the world to play against players they've never gotten to play against, most likely. It's going to be a lot of people's first huge event like this. It's going to be a lot of people's first time being in the United States. And they're coming out to play games, to have fun, to have a good time. That being said, do not discourage yourself, no matter what skill level you may feel you are at, others may feel you are at, no matter where your knowledge is. Do not be discouraged going into this tournament. This also goes along with what I'm saying with be reasonable about how well you understand your ability. Now these two go hand in hand. I don't want to separate them, which is why I'm saying them back to back, because I don't want you to go in purely thinking that you're going to win, like just no matter what. You just have it in the back of your mind that you're going to win, you're going to come out on top. Everyone wants to win, but I don't feel like that's the way that you should approach any major tournament you go to, purely thinking about I'm going to win no matter what. You need to be reasonable. And what I mean about reasonable is not I'm at a certain level and I can only expect to do this well, I can only expect to place it this high. I don't mean to go into it that way by being reasonable. What I mean is when you go into a tournament, recognize what your faults are before the tournament starts. Identify what your faults are whatever your skill level may be. Brainstorm on what you need to do to make up for it, to make up for what you feel you lack, for what you don't understand. That's what you should be focusing on more than I'm just going to win the tournament, no matter what. I may be at a disadvantage, but I'm going to win. That, I don't feel that accomplishes anything, and I don't feel like that helps you at the end of the day. So you should go in reasonably confident, but at the same time you need to have an understanding, I feel, of what you're capable of and what you're going to do at this tournament to make up for your faults. Because once you lose, you know it's over. All the time you spend thinking about how you're just going to win no matter what you're up against, that doesn't paint a picture for you so that you can come up with a strategy to deal with whatever situations you're put into. You just need to be in a mindset that I want to win, but this is what I'm going to have to do in order to win. This is where I am, and this is where I need to be during this tournament. This is what I need to be able to do while I'm playing in this tournament. And I feel if you can go into a tournament with that mindset, not only will you have a chance of winning, you will grow a lot as a player, because not only will you be thinking about the future as far as the matches you'll be in later, maybe at that tournament or maybe at a later date, you'll be thinking of how to improve yourself as a player. And that is the greatest thing that you can gain out of a tournament experience, I feel. Outside of having fun, I feel like just being able to establish a personal growth of some nature is just really important. So that's the mindset going into a tournament. Now, to go along with that, I've noticed that a lot of players have really negative connotations about their own ability. There are a lot of players that belittle their own experiences, their own accomplishments. Not even just going into a tournament, just in general. They don't feel they amount to a certain skill level. They don't feel like they can keep up with a certain group of players. And I'm not going to tell you that there aren't differences in the skill gaps. Like, we establish tiers for players for a reason, but we do it within, I want to say, we're doing it while being reasonable. We want you to be able to gauge where players are, so in a way you can put yourself at a level and you can see how much you know relative to the other players and how much you don't know. And with that, we don't do that in order to belittle any players or to make players seem better than they actually are. It's the whole point behind that is just to give you a means of gauging your own personal strength, so you know where you stand. And when you know where you stand, regardless of what it is that you're interested in, whether it's fighting games or anything else, you can use that information to improve. You have something to work with, and you need to rationalize this information positively. Look at it as, okay, this is where I am, but because of that, I can do this, this, and this in order to improve and elevate myself to the next level. That's how you want to think when you're investing your time into something that you feel is worthwhile, that you feel has a great personal value to you. You need to always be striving to do better, and you need to look at all that you have and all that you need and reasonably come to a conclusion on what you need to do to get what you're missing. So don't belittle yourself just because you may lack something, just because you don't understand something. Instead, focus on what you don't have in a way that inspires growth in you. So just think to yourself, I'm missing this. This is something that's really important at very high levels in my game. I'm missing an understanding of this concept. I know this now, which means I can fix it. That's how you need to look at it. Don't look at it as if it's one of those the glass is half empty situations. No, you want your glass to be half full. You want to be reasonable. Again, you want to be reasonable. But you want to be reasonable in a fashion that inspires growth, that allows you to improve. Because the more time you spend looking at the things that you can't do in order to feel bad for yourself, the less time you're spending actually improving. And an extension of that is maybe you're having less fun because you're not improving and you're not winning as much, but you're focusing on what you're not getting out of something instead of what you can get out of it, if that makes sense. I'm hoping I'm making sense. To go along with that, you need to go along with knowing what you need to do in order to improve. Please, please, please fight the stronger players. The noted stronger players are just players that you have issues with, that you might fight on net play or in your scene or whatever. You need to fight them often. If you can't fight them often, your alternative is to converse with them often. Talk with them, go over things, ask questions. Do not, and I can't stress this enough, under no circumstances should you be afraid to ask a question of another player regardless of their skill level. It doesn't matter if they're a high level player or if they're a top level player. It doesn't matter if there's a Japanese player, you know, sitting on Twitter that you follow and you can't understand everything that they're saying. It doesn't matter that there's a player out there like that when you have some means of contacting them. Like if you follow Soji or Yamashita or like Tahichi or something, and you just have a question, it doesn't hurt to ask. Like even doing Google Translate at the bare minimum can get you a very long way. So don't be afraid because of your perceived barriers between you and these stronger players. Just take a chance, ask a question. If nothing comes of it, nothing comes of it. Don't dwell on the fact that you didn't get what you wanted out of it, or that you didn't get anything at all out of it. You have nothing to lose from trying. If it's something that's worthwhile to you, you have to put forth that effort. So the last thing, after talking about player growth and how they should handle, you know, their personal mindset, how they should converse with other players in general, and it doesn't necessarily have to be stronger players. You just want to talk with other players, you know, keep your brain active so that you keep thinking of ways to improve your game and expand on your game. And to go along with that, net play is a very big aspect of a lot of the growth in players, primarily because not everyone has a scene. Not everyone has access to high level players or top level players, especially, even if they do have a scene. And you know, it's hard to get the experience you need purely from net play. Nonetheless, I do feel that net play is very, very important. I feel that there are a lot of things that you can take away from net play if you're willing to look for them. If you're willing to look past the bad habits that some players may have and the bad player interactions, you know, maybe from the chat or just from people sending you messages, if you can get past all that stuff and just look for the good that you can get out of having access to something like that, it'll really go a long way for you, I feel. And to go along with that, there's a very negative connotation behind net play itself, and by extension the players that primarily play on net play. And I honestly feel like at some point that has to come to an end. A lot of players are being alienated because they either only have net play, or they generally have more time for net play than anything else because of maybe where they live, they're too far away or something, it's not convenient enough, it's not reasonable, the drive or whatever transportation they have access to, it's not reasonable enough to warrant going out regularly, so they can't afford to do that, and their alternative is net play. And a lot of players, I feel like a lot of players are treated poorly on both ends of the spectrum. The lower half of the player base skill wise and the upper half of the player base skill wise. I feel like on both ends there's a lot of animosity and a lot of ill intent. And I feel like because of that, things just keep spiraling into worse and worse states. More players are being alienated. More players aren't learning the things that they need to learn. There are even players that don't want to learn, you know, and are very rude about their interactions. And, you know, that tends to happen. That's not anything specific to fighting games. Is one of the things that I want to point out. People being inconsiderate and awful in front of others, being rude, that's not anything specific to fighting games. It's something you'll find no matter where you go in life, and it's just something that you're going to have to deal with if it's something you're interested in. If you're interested in playing fighting games and improving, you can't remove that personal aspect from the games because you attached that aspect to the game yourself. No one forced you to make it very personal to you. You're not obligated to delve deep into a community and be a figurehead or anything like this. Be an outspoken person in the community. You're not obligated to do any of this. This is something you choose yourself, and as such, you should understand what that entails. You should know that when you put yourself out there like that, people gain the ability to poke at whatever it is you say and tear it down. That's just how it's going to be. It doesn't matter if you're a top player or a low level player. That's always a possibility if you choose to be outspoken, and I think everyone needs to be more understanding of just how crucial it is to get along. To get along with people that play on net play and vice versa, to get along with the people that play primarily offline. That gap needs to be bridged because we can't have one without the other because of the way that our scenes are outside of Japan. It's really hard to have one without the other. And so we just need to get over the fact that we don't like one, or we don't like players on one side of the fence, and we just need to accept that that's how things are and we need to work with it. So we need to get past the point where net players feel that all offline players are elitists and they're stuck on their high horses, which at times is true. I'm not going to deny that. There are examples of that happening in all the fighting game scenes. And the flip side is I don't want offline players purely thinking that net players are only their bad habits. They don't have an opportunity to grow. They're not worth it. They're not worth any form of investment, because I'll say this: whichever side of the fence you may be on, if you do not want to interact with the person, you don't have to. You don't. You have to choose to interact with the person. And when you choose to interact with a person and things don't work out, you just have to accept the fact that things didn't work out and move on. You shouldn't go out of your way to criticize someone for being wrong about something or disagreeing with you strongly. Well, I guess I can't say you can't criticize them. I guess I should say you shouldn't criticize them for the sake of criticizing them. You should be criticizing people with a purpose, for a reason, because you want to see something change positively. If you're going to critique someone about how they act or how they play, you have to be considerate and understanding when you do it, or at the end of the day, they're just going to take what you're saying as angry words. And if they're one of those type of people, and you know what I mean by one of those types of people, that will just take anything you say and use it to start an argument, or they corral a group of people against you and they call you names and they belittle you, and you know, they treat you like you're just this awful person because you disagreed with them, and or that you're stupid and idiotic. It's like all that kind of stuff, it just, honestly, it just needs to stop. We don't need that. It accomplishes nothing. All it does is further alienate and separate the groups. Like, we don't need that. So when you're going to a major, when you're going to EVO, don't treat players as if they're just net players. Whatever their habits may be considerate and be nice. And this leads into the next major point I want to go over, which is being considerate, being understanding of the players that you are around. So when you go to one of these majors, it's not even just a want, it's a hope that people can be mindful of the way others act around them, the way people's moods are, because there are going to be a lot of new players, like I said, or a lot of players that are traveling out and haven't been in a particular area before, a particular region, and much less might not have even been in this country before. And just look out for these people, be understanding of their situation. Like, they haven't spent time with specific groups of people. Like, everyone's going to have their own little cliques or groups going into EVO, and I just want to say, try to be mindful of people that maybe don't have a group. Try to be nice and considerate. You don't have to go out of your way to do that. I'm not gonna ask anybody to do that, but if you just see someone like just having a bad day, you know, just some nice words can go a long way to help people more enjoy their experience, and just, you know, who knows, maybe it'll help improve your experience depending on where you see them or if you see them again. But just be mindful of the way people act around you and try to be considerate of moods. Try not to start any arguments. If you're set on being a part of an argument or any form of heated debate, I want to advise going into said discussion with the purpose. Don't join one of these arguments just to take sides. If you're going to jump in, you need to have a reason for doing so, more than just, this is my friend and they have a problem. I don't feel that's enough of a reason. I feel like that just causes more problems. It further separates groups. It gets entire groups of people against each other. It can create a really sour mood when these people are grouped together that had this argument. If you get in one, maybe try to calm some people down if you're up for doing it. Don't overextend yourself too far if it's not something that you have any relation to whatsoever. Like, just try to be understanding of what's going on, and if you get involved, have a reason for doing so beyond just, I need to take sides. And I don't like this person, or I don't agree with what they're saying. If you don't agree with what they're saying, you should be going in with the intent to explain why. And be calm about it, be rational about it. Don't start swinging your fist. You know, I don't expect anyone to do that, but you know, it's happened. So just be aware. And yeah, that's pretty much it as far as just, you know, going into being considerate and courteous of those around you. Don't cause added stress for the TOs, you know, the people working at the venues. They put a lot of work into these events, so if you could just do your best to cooperate with these people, they would really appreciate it. I would really appreciate it. I'm not going to EVO, but still, just knowing that people are doing their best out there to help, even with as little a thing as possible, is just it's such a great thing. So be mindful of what's going on as far as the TOs and the tournament situations. Keep yourself up to date, and you know, up to date on what's going on site, or you know, the weather or anything, so that you can point things out to people, and you know, just kind of coordinate. So coordination goes in to my other point, which is networking. So you go to these majors, this is a great time for you to meet new friends. This is a great time for you to expand your knowledge. This is a great time for you to gain access to more resources. So do not waste this time purely having fun. The end goal is to have fun. I want you all to have fun, but you have a great opportunity to meet new people and to become a part of new groups. And don't alienate yourself just because you feel you're an outsider or you don't really know anybody. Like, take the opportunity to step out and greet people, and you know, somebody drops something, obviously, you know, pick it up. Something really simple, but you know, it's the really simple things that can go a really long way. So you know, just try to be helpful. Again, you don't have to go out of your way to do things, but you know, if you're at like a station or something and you're playing, and you've been playing for a decent while, you know, maybe 20 minutes or something, and you just haven't been losing or something. I know everyone wants to have their practice time and their preparation. Want to make sure they're fully prepared, but you know, be considerate of the other people. You're not the only player there. You're not the only one that needs to shake off some pent up, what was the word I was looking for? I guess nervousness. Let's go with that. You're not the only one that might be nervous going into this tournament. I mean, EVO, especially biggest tournament, you're not going to be the only one that's afraid of, you know, dropping a few combos here, messing up a few setups. So just be considerate of that. Let other people have their turn, and during that time when you're not playing and you have to get up, take that time to just, you know, talk to people, exchange a few words. Maybe go over some things, see if anyone had questions, like especially if one of the people that's near you when you get up was one of the people that you played and they struggled against you. You know, do something as simple as ask them, it's like, hey, do you have any questions about that matchup, or just like my character in general? Like, you want to know some things that you could do? Like, just something as simple as that. And you know, if they say no, I'm okay, I want to try to figure it out on my own, you know, that's it. You don't have to push any harder than that. But if they say, you know, yeah, I'm having trouble and I just don't know what to do, or something along those lines, and you're in a position to help them, as no matter how small you feel that your advice may be in the grand scheme of things, it goes a long way to just socialize with someone like that and to, you know, give them some feedback. And you know, try to be either neutral or positive. Never delve into the negative when you're going over faults with another player. because you can criticize someone without being negative about it. There's a way to point out faults in a play style while not being negative about it. I don't want you guys to be berating players when they're asking for advice, so just you know, try to be very mindful of the people around you in your area, in your station, or in the room you go to, and, you know, look around, see who wants to play, even ask if you need to. If nobody's saying anything, sometimes people are just afraid to ask. You know, sometimes people don't feel like they deserve to play. I know it sounds silly. They might feel like they're just so inferior to another player that they don't have the right to hop on the station and play such and such player. But because there are players out there that might feel this way, you know, take the time to just say something simple. It's like in between going from one game to the next, does anybody want to get on next? It's like it's really simple. That's all you have to say. It doesn't interfere with the flow, because you're going into the next game with your opponent, and, you know, just look around real quick, and it's like they either say something or they don't. And like you can just ask a few times while you're playing, because, you know, people will be walking by and leaving, and, you know, some people might not have been paying attention the first time, and just try to be aware of the people around you so you can get as many people to enjoy their experience as possible. So, man, this is longer than I wanted it to be, but I just keep talking and talking. So yeah, that was networking. And the last thing is just, you know, have fun and be safe. When you're going to EVO, going to Las Vegas, going to any major, you're gonna meet all sorts of people there. I know that families sending their kids out there are going to feel like, you know, it's a harsh environment out there. They don't know what can happen out there. Their kids are all alone. It's hard. It's hard for families to do something like this. Hard for friends even to send other friends out and to just know they're out there without anyone from their home area with them most of the time. Sometimes you're lucky enough to have a friend go with you, or like a group go with you, and if you're not, I recommend just staying in like the hotel areas. There are generally a lot of things that you can do on the sites, and you can truly enjoy your weekend, especially in Las Vegas at EVO, without leaving your hotel. So I don't want people to feel that it's necessary for them to leave and go hang out with people. You don't have to do that. If you don't want to, you can have more than enough fun just staying on site. Nobody's gonna get mad at you or think you're weird or anything just because you don't go out for some drinks at some place down the street from the hotel or anything like that. You don't have to worry about any of that kind of stuff. Just go. You can stay on site if you feel that's all you want to do, and you can just play with the people that are there, talk with the people that are there. You know, there are going to be so many people going in and out, that if a specific group of people just leaves that you wanted to talk to, just talk to the next group. That's it. Just find another group, go sit down at a station, strike up a conversation, you know, and just truly enjoy your weekend. So I want everyone to have a great time at these majors. I want everyone to truly get a good experience out of it. In order to do that, I want to stress that it's really important. It's really important how you go about interacting with social media while you're at an event like this. I want to say, check your notifications and nothing else. That would be my advice, but it's really a to each his own thing. Some people just have to see what everyone else is doing, and you know, I would say if you're going to check Twitter or Facebook or something and just scroll through things, do so only to see if people ask questions, you know, maybe about the site or where someone went or anything like that. But don't delve any further into social media than that. Just, you know, use it to check up on people, you know, see if someone's feeling bad or why someone left, or, you know, where people are going or what their plans are. You know, that's it. After you've checked and you don't see anything like that, or you didn't have anything to ask yourself, I feel like at that point just put your phone down. Like, you guys, you should be enjoying the full experience, and I feel like social media is just going to detract from that if it's not necessary, or if you're not using it in order to check up on people. Like, just put your phone down. Just enjoy everything the event has to offer. You have all the time in the world to pick up your phone after the event, you know, on your plane ride back. So don't spend the majority of your event pulling out your phone and checking on people that are probably in the same room as you, that you could just get up and walk up to and ask a question of. You know, that's much better than communicating with them through your phone. So anyways, that's all I want to talk about for now. I plan to do 2 more videos next week, and they're I want to say they're more serious, which is why I'm saving them for after EVO. I don't want people to be thinking about anything too drastic if they choose to do so before EVO happens. So I'm going to save those for next